Yes, the film is called The Journey because it's about the journey that Martin McGuinness and Reverend Ian Paisley take together in our film to the airport where Ian Paisley is having to go back to his 50th wedding anniversary back to Northern Ireland from Belfast from Scotland, St Andrews, where the meeting for the peace, the final push for peace is happening. And it's a story, a distillation of many different factions of all the things, many things that have gone on, you know, in all the various different forms of this conversation, this meeting of opposing minds, and it's the story of that. Well, I'm playing Ian Paisley. Does he need any announcing? I mean, maybe he's. For those who don't know, he ended up as the First Minister, but he was the leader of the Democratic Unionist Party and the leader of the Free Presbyterian Church, which both he started, really, and ended up being the First Minister of the province with Martin McGuinness as his deputy. It's an area, you know, the Northern Irish problem for those who live, you know, British Isles and around and everywhere, of course, because it was reached. We all seem to know, we all seem to think we know about the problems. We all know that there was two opposing sides, but we don't know the intricacies. We don't know the personal cost of it, the personal things that go on, and the sense we never really. The beauty of this piece is that no one really knows what went on between them, and this is an investigation, as it says, a fictional investigation, but having read quite a lot about it now, it seems to me a brilliant distillation, you know, condensing of many different aspects to these two characters, and particularly, you know, all of us who grew up with this going on, obviously from where I was in London and British Isles, and we all have an opinion about it. And what was interesting was to be able to go and play a character that, through circumstances and through media coverage and through the vividness of his character and the posing and what the other people said about them, how easy it was to judge people on, you know, on face value or whatever you saw. Well, how else could you to get inside a character that everybody seems to think they know about? It's just a wonderful opportunity to have a look at, to see whether one can put it off really and try and understand it, and it's your job as an actor to, if it's anything, just to come along and try and breathe life into a character, you know. Now all you need to do is look things up, of course, on the internet, and I was sent and sought out interviews with him and documentaries and from his past, and a look at him preaching in his church and various places in America and giving sermons and political rallies, and a recent one, a face-to-face interview where you see him talking personally about things. So he's not in any way presenting his cause, he's actually talking about things personally. It's a fascinating exercise, really. I mean, in the end, exercise, it doesn't matter, because hopefully we're just telling the story in the best possible way, and it's not for the audience to be worried about whether, you know, whether we're working or not. Hopefully we'll just end up playing these characters and you'll believe them. You know, that's your hope. You never know, you know. Obviously, when you're playing people that are, you know, have family alive, and people who have cherished memories of them and people who oppose them, you have a large responsibility. You know, it would. I hope that it's my responsibility to try and, you know, play it in the best possible way I can, and I hope that in any way that you know, it doesn't offend anybody. You know, these are remarkable characters, you know, and so remarkable they're being put in a film. So you just hope you give it your best shot, you know. Well, it's just acting, isn't it? I mean, you know, I could go on about it forever, but it's neither interesting nor relevant, because what you do is you just use your imagination and you look and you try and understand what makes a person tick, you know, and it's not interesting to hear actors talking about how they do things. Particularly, I don't think it's not for you know, it either sounds like. You know, the thing is, if it's believable and it works, you know. I don't think, you know, I could sit here and go on about it forever, but I'm not going to, because it's boring. The simple answer to that is there is more pressure on that, because everybody has an opinion. The man is iconic, and you know, God rest his soul, is not long gone, you know. Yeah, well, anybody who grew up, you know, and kept their eye open and, you know, and understood it, we all, to a larger or lesser degree, were affected by the Troubles. We all, I think you'd be either fibbing or not kept your ears open or your eyes open to have, not have a feeling about it. And I think, like a lot of people, you get informed by received opinion and the opposition on both sides of the way. You know, they both had incredibly strong opinions about each other, and you know, they didn't bar words and you know, pull any punches about it. So, you know, it was very easy to go along with the received wisdom. Yeah, not forensically, you know, but enough to know that things were going and which way they were moving. And obviously, as I say, you know, we were all directly affected by it. So, you know, it seemed like an impossible conundrum. It is a testament to peace anywhere, really, particularly in the world that we live in, you know, which is, as we know, there's always some tensions going on, and we know that it's constantly there. That if these two overtly opposed sides can find some peace, you think, well, there's hope for everybody, you know. When things are real, however serious they are, and sometimes the more serious they are, the more heart-rending they are. When people are human, they're human, and there is often comedy with tragedy. You know, there is often the way people behave is never the way it is in an ideal world. The way people behave when they are talking about things that are dangerous and affecting, there is usually a odd humour in that. Now, we have to be very careful. It's because we're in an emotive subject here where people will say, well, it's nothing, none of it is funny. Of course it's not funny, but, you know, human life in all of its profundities always, to me, is a mixture of the comic and the tragic. You know, it always is. I don't know. I don't know what Ian would make of it, what the big man would make of it, but all I can say is I'm certainly only trying to delve into it to understand him and not do anything other than do that. Without sounding highfalutin anyway, the only simple thing that an actor tries to do is try and understand what how another human being works, and then try and do it, become it. That's all there is to it. There's no mystery. Through the power of reconciliation, through forgiveness, through understanding what has happened and accepting it cannot happen anymore, or there must be and going with the power to end it through and actually swallowing quite a lot of difficult stuff to make it happen. I mean, if that can happen here, which it did, in a seemingly unsolvable conundrum, then what it's saying is that surely we as human beings can always do it. It just has to take time and perseverance and the will, you know. Well, that's opinion. It's not your job to play other people's opinions. It's your job to understand what makes somebody do what they do, rather than what the reaction to. You can't play other people's reactions to you. It's a bit like, you know, doing that, you know, getting up in the morning, you know, what am I going to do? Oh, somebody might not like the way I wash my hair. Or, you know, the reality is that whether people consider him to be diversive or not, that's not for me to say. I wouldn't go into this, to go anywhere near it, if I thought it was in any way, you know, manipulative or wrong. Or it seems to me an incredibly well balanced, very well thought through understanding of both sides, and it doesn't come down on either side. It just says this is what they were like, and this is how it happened, and it doesn't say do this, do that. It's not instructive. It lays it out for you. And of course, what we all know is that they came together and became friends, you know. Friends, and again, that's a simple word with a big thing, but they became pretty close, you know, and you only have to look at the footage of Mr. McGuinness being told the news of Mr. Paisley's death to see that there was this very unlikely connection there, as well, personally as well as politically, across the divide, you know. I'm very pleased to be working with Colm. You know, he's I really respect him very much as an actor, and I think it's great, you know, and it always makes, all the actors in this are fantastic, and it always makes life much easier when you're acting with really good actors, you know. Contrary to popular belief, actors don't want other people who aren't really good around them, so they look good. They want really good actors to act with, because it makes it easier. No, I haven't. No, and he's so, you know, passionate, and so, you know, it's a personal project with him, I think, and it feels like a very rare and wonderful, you know, everything's a leap of faith, you know, everything you ever do, whatever it is. I love working here. I really enjoy it. I came a long time ago to a film festival right in the middle of all the troubles and liked it then. I was glad, not that obviously there was the troubles, you know, it's easy to say these things, but I was, you know, obviously, like we all were who didn't live here, you know, informed by what we saw. And when I came here, I was always struck by how incredibly friendly it was here, and how, you know, what a lovely place. I really like working here. No, I don't think so. No, I don't. No. That's a different kind of acting, isn't it, being a politician?